Very typical. You know, when you get new guys in and they're not sure of themselves, they just throw it everywhere.
By and large, you've got 15 guys, pretty athletic, pretty deep. You haven't changed your mind on that, right?
No, we're gonna still do what we do. John, we've got to do a better job in transition. I mean, we got to do if we'd have worked better in transition the last 2 years, we'd have been a whole lot more successful. You got to score when you got numbers.
Do you like this team as a shooting team? Do you like the shooters you got? Or is that still to be determined?
We're shooting it okay now. I mean, it remains to be seen how they shoot it whenever you put people in the stands. Kind of different deal, you know.
I got to ask you last week about the new July recruiting period. I'm not sure we have stage, but just kind of wondering what your thoughts are on that and NCAA camps and that kind of stuff.
The July recruiting period's not going to change much. The April period changed, but that's primarily because of a calendar issue.
Right, okay.
We didn't have as many weekends, so that changed. Listen, you know, whatever it is, you know.
You adjust and adapt and.
Well, I mean, I told Greg earlier today, you know, it's one thing to sit and say, okay, you should be doing this and you should be doing this, and it's another thing to implement it.
Right.
You know, and it's easy to say that when you're not the one implementing it.
Right.
Several of your attorneys have discussed they feel like the newcomers are receptive, that they're listening, learning about what they're doing. How long does it take you to get a grasp on that? Hey, are these guys hearing what I'm saying and getting it?
Depends on how much they work at it and how much they care. Jordan knows everything. Jordan knows as much or more than our veteran guys because he takes film home and studies it and comes in with James and watches film, and so you know it's not any different than studying for a test. I mean, if you show up for class and halfway pay attention and never go home and study the material or learn the material, you're not going to be very good at it.
How much do you think Jordan started when he was still in high school, Huggins? I mean, from the standpoint of just paying so close attention to everything that's going on in the program?
You'd have to ask him that. I mean, he paid attention. I don't know how much.
You go from having one of the most experienced backcourts in the country to now you've got a combination of experience with Beadle and Chase and a lot of young guys. How does that affect as far as the coaching standpoint?
It really doesn't. Obviously, JC and Dex knew what they were doing, but we had a whole bunch of other guys that needed to play that didn't know before. And the honest to God's truth is, Beadle hadn't practiced very much because he's been hurt. He's had one thing after another, and Chase has been out. So we're throwing a bunch of guys out there that have they've got to care and they've got to work at it, and sometimes that takes time. Sometimes that's sitting on the bench for a while until you figure out that, by God, this is serious, you know. So I tell them all the time, man, it's not up to me. I could care less who plays. I don't have favorites. I don't care. You know, whoever plays, plays. But if you don't play, it's your fault. The way we play, playing as many people as we play, if you don't play, it's your own fault.
Personality-wise, you got a different group of guards than what you had with Dax.
Well, they're not as sure of themselves as those guys were, but that's
sure.
That goes with the territory. We can, for the most part, I think we can make shots. We also throw it off the wall quite a bit. No, we're pretty consistent at it.
Basketball IQ-wise, where does Jordan fit with some of them? I know, particularly this young in his career, so early in his career.
Well, Well, I think he understands what's supposed to happen. Implementation is another deal. You know, it's my God, there's a lot of people sit around with great ideas and have no idea how to implement them. And so I think he's in the process of trying to figure out how to implement what he's learned.
Generally speaking, though, coaches play the guards that they feel most comfortable with, and the ball in their hands to run what you want, right? Is that generally speaking how coaches operate when they choose who they're playing, the point guard, so forth?
Either that or necessity. I mean, we've played some guys just out of necessity because they were the best option. It wasn't necessarily that you had all the confidence in the world in them. It was just, you know, the year that Wani and Gary both go down, that's really when JC took over at point. I mean, did I have a lot of confidence in him? No, but that grows as he continues to grow and get better.
Do you envision yourself having to coach them through sets and stuff a little bit more until they get comfortable identifying things?
It's more than that, John. I mean, most of them know some sets. It's what happens when they take something away. Then what do? You know, if you're a guy with the ball, who comes open first? A lot of times their first option's open and you're looking at your third one, because you're getting a little bit of pressure and now you're turned around, not where you're, or maybe you didn't penetrate it deep enough to shorten the passing lane. Passing lane gets too long, they're going to run through it. So there's a lot of variables.
Bob, how did you and your staff nurse Brandon through this offseason, which had to be pretty trying for him, not knowing, you know, what his future was holding?
Well, I think the positive thing, Bob, was he was allowed to work out. He wasn't allowed to play, but he was allowed to work out. They were more concerned with contact with him than they were him coming in and spending time. And so I don't think it was as bad as what it could have been. You know, if it was just he was shut down totally, I think that would have been really hard on him. But I think being able to come in and work out, and
Felt part of it.
yeah, you know, Jordan's in here working out, so there were people in here, teammates in here that he could work out with. So I think he did still feel part of it. And if he was totally out of it, I think it'd been really, really hard on him.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Coach, what's the competition been like among the big guys so far?
Well, I think we know who our best one is.
In terms of them pushing each other?
Well, I mean, it's not fair because a couple of them have been banged up, and Logan and Sags know so much more than the other ones do. Derek's shown some signs. Andrew's shown some signs. It's just Andrew hadn't, in all honesty, hadn't practiced much because of his knee.
When Tariq came in, you talked about how he was a winner and all that, and Jordan McCabe's kind of the same way, won a lot in high school in Wisconsin. What can bringing in guys like that know how to win help your program and help your team?
Well, I think that's what everybody tries to do. Sometimes you misjudge. You know, sometimes you get guys that you think are ultra competitive, and they're ultra competitive as long as they're playing against somebody who isn't near as good as them. And then when you find out when they line up against guys who are as good or better than them.